So, good morning and a very warm welcome, everyone. I am Naveen, and on behalf of our presenting partner Avalara, Gold Partner Next Dime SKP, E42 and Happy, Silver Partners, Walters Kluwer, Equity Solution Partner Capita, Exhibit Partners FastFax, Iris GST, and Recruitment Partner Lagafin welcomes everyone to the third CFO Conference and Awards 2024 Delhi chapter curated by Gainskills Business Media. Can we have a huge round of applause for each and every one of us present over here? As we gather today, we come together to celebrate excellence in the realm of financial stewardship and to recognize the visionary leaders who drive financial strategies and innovation in their organizations. Moreover, the CFO Awards will recognize and honor the outstanding achievements and contributions of CFOs who have demonstrated exceptional leadership, innovation, and strategic vision in steering their organization towards financial excellence. To all the attendees, speakers, and partners present, I encourage all of us to engage actively, exchange ideas, and forge valuable connections throughout the day. Once again, a heartfelt welcome to the third CFO Conference and Awards 2024 Delhi chapter. With this note, let me introduce our first keynote speaker of the day, Mr. Devesh Singhania, CFO, India Region and APAC Industry Controller, Socomec Group. He will be presenting on the topic, the emerging role of CFOs in driving business strategy and growth in hybrid work cultures. Mr. Singhania is a seasoned finance professional with 19 years of experience in consulting, audit, and managing finance functions for a French MNC. He specializes in business partnering, IT automation, financial management, risk management, and strategic business plan across diverse geographies and industries. Welcoming Mr. Devesh Singhania with a huge round of applause.
You able to hear me? Okay, I'll try to avoid the dais. I feel a bit formal. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the warm morning of Delhi. I was in Bangalore with the fantastic weather yesterday, so I could feel the heat, and I guess still a lot of colleagues on the road and some in the coffee. So maybe just before to start, I will say the election season is on the way, so I would recommend and encourage everyone to go out and vote. It's not only a right, I was told it's our responsibility as well. Right? So before to start, I will just slightly diverge a bit the topic and slice out the hybrid work culture. I apologize to Ashish for that before, because it's a topic in itself. So I would focus on the CFO role, not only on the strategy, but also as the CFO role in general, I would say. Next slide. Okay, just before to start this, I'm sure the picture will generate some curiosity. We are all living in a very exciting world as we see, especially in India. This is one of the most exciting times for India, we say. It's one of the topmost growing economies of the world. The world is dealing at 2 to 3% growth, but India is growing at 6 to 7%. The political stability is there. The real ground growth is there in terms of infrastructure, digitization, and so on. But all is not green, as you say. And there is uncertainty. The costs are rising, interest rates are rising. There is geopolitical uncertainty, what happened in Ukraine last year and now in Gaza as well. So I would encourage to see this picture and also try to make the session a bit interactive, and that's why I have this flexi chart on the board. What does the picture reminds you, and what are the traits of the guys there? It's Everest expedition, of course. Everybody can relate. So if you can help some of the colleagues here to tell me what are the 2 or 3 qualities and the personality traits comes into your mind when you see this. To me, the first is planning, meaning when you have to go in the Everest, you plan. But there are more, and I would like you to, it's a kind of icebreaker, you can think. Please, any of you? Maybe you can stand up and say, I'll just write here. Adventurous. Execution, yeah. Unknown challenges, that's a very relevant one. Teamwork. Preparation, planning. It- Absolutely. Team goal, purpose. Perfect. Training. And by the way, my goal was not to give a training and the speech, but I wanted to make a context here. I'm not saying anything which you don't know, but anything, last two? Commitment, absolutely. Sorry? Sorry? Achieving the goal? Yeah, so it's here, goal. Goal oriented, I would say. Sorry? Risk. That's a very good one. So I'll stop here. You know what I wanted to try, and I was doing that yesterday, and that's why I sent my slides midnight yesterday to Snehal. I was trying to see that in the past decade, the finance and the CFO role was a very hard nut and bolt role. You know, we were called Munims back in the 1950s, then bookkeepers in the 1980s, and in the early 2000s we were called reporters. And in the last 10 years, we've been called business partners. And now, I would say last 5 to 7 years, I see more of us being called as business drivers, right? So the quality here listed is not a quality of a CFO running finance function only. The quality and the traits here, you know, a mountaineer or someone going for expedition. Why I link that? Because going to Everest is the running a sustainable organization with a long-term sustainable goal and growth is quite challenging in today's world. Meaning we can speak about it for hours. And that's where in this Bani and VUCA world, and we've got more and more the metaphors and names for the uncertain world today, we need all these traits, habits, and qualities to attain that. And a CFO, and if I link to the context, a CFO needs to inculcate these qualities, you know, all of them, which was not the need of our maybe a couple of decades before, but as the CFO is called the co-pilot, or is called the companion, or is also more often called the number 2 or the right-hand man of the CEO, and more CFOs becoming CEO these days, you know, the trend is rising. These qualities have become more and more important for the CFO to inculcate as a part of their routine. And interestingly, you will see, this is what I wrote yesterday evening, and you will see most of them you will find in the list which you said. And let's start maybe with the first one. I'll probably start with the planning. I think there was a preparation. So preparation and strategy goes along hand, and strategy is one piece where I think CFOs at least couple of decades before were nowhere in the picture on the strategy. It was more a discussion among the boardrooms with the CEOs mostly. And today we see the CFOs very much present in the strategy. In fact, they are driving the strategy to the extent which goes very predominantly. The second is business support, which is coordination and execution. So I would just take one step back, that how do we achieve that? And this is a very basic question I ask myself, that what I was doing as a CFO 7 years back versus what I'm doing today in terms of strategy and business execution. And how did I achieve that? And I'm sure everybody has their own story. So I think as a CFO and as an emerging CFO, one is to think that it's nice to see on the slide or as a part of the team that we are strategists or business partners. But how do we achieve that? And there's no fixed formula. So when I ask myself, I see that 2015 I started a bunch of customer meetings. I started to attend pipeline reviews. I started to attend sales reviews. And the first question I could see on the face of the sales guys or the customers, why the guy is here? Have we done something wrong? Because the CFO was kind of jumping in when there was something wrong. So I think that's the first perception we have to face, we have to deal, and then we have to start learning the business. And after a sense of learning and deep understanding of the business, we also have to offer value proposition to the business, to the customers, and to our team on the ground. So I think that was the start which I made in 2015 back. I made it a habit to at least visit a couple of customers every month, have a sip of coffee with the non-finance guys almost every second day. These are some basic traits in your day-to-day business life, as a part of your life, we should inculcate to become and to inculcate this role of a strategist or a business support. Leader, I mentioned leader, meaning here that was something which was missing, I would say. When we are in expedition, which is, as I said, running organization, we need leadership as well. Because we can have direction, we can have a commitment, a goal, a planning and a preparation, but we need to provide leadership. And I see that CFO are in the right shape, right table and right forum to provide that leadership, and they are enjoying the support of the boardroom and the CEOs as well to form strategy, to deploy the strategy and convert that into execution. But of course, that's something which comes with the influencer, that we need, as a community of CFOs, to build that influencing power, the executive presence at the boardroom level, and also the influencing power at the ground level to the sales guys, to the colleagues in the ground with the customers, to be able to deploy that strategy. If you see the middle block, that is the real hard skill of the CFO, which we have been doing for a couple of decades. The specialist role of finance, the financial management, the risk management has been a traditional role of finance, but it often amounts to say no to things, saying no to contracts for risk, saying no to the business for credit. But I think that's one key change in the last 2 decades I have experienced myself, that we need to assess the risk of the business. Saying no is always easy, but we need to understand that what is the level and amount of risk and give proposal and solutions. So that's something which is a big change in terms of the role of CFOs, especially when it comes to the risk management. And specifically in the Indian context, it's very important because when you assess a risk, it's not black and white in India. And of course, India, in spite of a lot of transformations, still offers a lot of ambiguity when it comes to the ease of doing business. It's improving year after year. So I would say, globally speaking, as a CFO community, I feel that to get that relevance and recognition in the boardroom, to enjoy that driving seat, we need to inculcate these roles and responsibilities and develop that leadership skill apart from the hard specialist role of the finance which we have been doing. And it's more and more relevant for the emerging CFOs. Now, having said all of this, I would say it still depends, because I often talk to the fellow CFOs and I see that the way they're driving the organization is very different from what one is doing to another. And it's very surprising sometimes that what I'm doing is quite different from what my fellow colleague is doing in another organization. The way a CFO is positioned is far different. For example, a CFO can be negotiating a 100 crores contract and negotiating with the vendor in one company, and the second company is not even aware the contract is won. So, and I have both the situations when in fact, it's something which I've experienced in my company, being in the company for last 10 years, in 2013 where we were nowhere involved to now where we are driving the contracts and negotiating with the customers and vendor myself. So of course, priority is important. How we cannot do everything, we have to prioritize, of course, that's needless to say. But what's the need of the hour in a particular organization is important. If the organization is expanding, if it's an IPO phase, funding, finding the investor, getting into the strategic role becomes very important. But if it's mature stage, if it's in a growth or mature stage, the compliance processes finds a major part, and you can find the CFO more as a transformer than the strategist, because the strategy is already into the place for a decade or so. And lastly, the business segment also plays a big role. And I've seen a role of a CFO in a real estate to e-commerce is completely different. The culture of the company plays a very big part as well. And I've seen the multinational companies offer a very different ecosystem for the CFOs than a promoter-driven or a listed company. And of course, needless to say, listed companies, there is a short-term purpose, short-term action to be driven as well. Whereas in a multinational backed up by the strong finance from the globe, they can work on a strategic action for the sustainable growth. So lastly, I would say with all this, CFO is in a very niche position to culminate the purpose, strategy, and the governance of the company to the ultimate goal of the company. And you can say, I still remember the word of the Spider-Man, with great power comes the great responsibility. So the CFO needs to be aware, to be sensitive of these responsibilities which the CFO community in general we are getting, thanks to this change in the ecosystem where CFO is considered as strategist and one of the key CXO in the organization. So that's all, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Devesh Singhania, for sharing the wonderful thoughts. I request Mr. Singhania to please be on the dais. To do the honors, I request Mr. Ankit Arora, Senior Vice President of Yes Bank, to please join us on the stage. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Devesh Singhania and Mr. Ankit Arora?